All right, what up, fantasy football fans? Week 8, Thursday night football. We got John Motels here hosting. We got Brian Shade, who just got all pretty for us, changed his room. I think he's trying to upgrade. Maybe hoping Fox News comes and hires him. And we got Jason Baum, Bear, angel of death, bearer of bad news. It was another tragic week 8 where we're just losing guys. It's almost a joke at this point, except it's not even funny, right? Jason, how are you doing?
I was going to say, I'm good. Hug your wide receiver.
Brian, what's going on? How's everything going?
I feel pretty good about last week. I had both Bigsby and Javonte in top 12, so 2 hits for the model.
Yeah. You were one of the few. You had a couple crazy other things, didn't you, that came through?
I mean, those were the 2 that stuck out.
Well, you had Kyron Williams, right, over a touchdown, which you said was rare.
Yeah.
And he scored.
He did.
Didn't his prop total though. Okay, well let's just jump into it, right? We got a nice Thursday night game. We got Cooper Kupp returning, probably Puka Nacua returning. We had another big trade, but I think the biggest story is Jason's poor Niners and what has he done to them?
Man, it's not what I've done. It's like what the football gods have done to us. It's like, I don't know what we do to deserve to keep getting injured after every Super Bowl run that we have, but here we are. So obviously Brandon Ayuk tore his ACL and his MCL out for the year. Wanted to go to surgery at some point. Has been placed on season-ending IR. Deebo Samuel played. He suited up for Sunday's game with the intention to play, but the illness just became too much. Went to the hospital, ended up with pneumonia. Good news is he's been out of the hospital, practiced in limited capacity yesterday. I've not seen any report yet from today, but by all accounts, he does have a chance to play Sunday night against the Cowboys, which I'm sure Brian would like, being an Eagles fan, because I know he wants to see the Niners do a number to the Cowboys.
When was Deebo scratched? How late was that for that Chiefs game?
He was never scratched. He suited up and actually played in the game. He just lasted like 3 snaps, and they showed him on the sideline just with an oxygen mask on, sitting next to a fan, trying to cool off. And it just, he came back in for one more snap, and he just couldn't do it. He just couldn't go. Props to him for, shout out Deebo for gutting it out and doing the best he could. I mean, falling ill to an illness of that magnitude and trying to play through it is, tough. And, again, props to Deebo for showing he just couldn't do it, and they just had to yank him. He just couldn't go.
I'm sure fantasy GMs who started Deebo probably think differently, but luckily.
I get that it's fantasy football, but these guys are human too. So I gotta put that out there. And I'm never gonna hate my guys for, especially my guys for gutting it out on difficult circumstances.
Fair enough. How do you even get pneumonia? I thought I don't think these are the questions I'm capable of answering. Okay.
But I did stay at Holiday Inn Express last night.
Okay. And then we got Ricky Pearsall back. Juwan Jennings probably going to play. Who do you like more fantasy going for the rest of the season?
As of right now, you got to go with Juwan Jennings. He's been such a reliable target for the Niners court. Anybody throwing the ball, any Niners ball thrower at this point, or any Niner quarterback, I should say, since he's come into the league in 2022, he just always seems to kind of come out of nowhere and just make big third down catches and, really earn that nickname Third and Juwan. But whenever somebody goes down, he always steps up, and he's really become every down in Juwan at this point. So I will ride with Juwan until the end of the time.
Okay, cool. And then we got Niners bye week is next week, right?
Correct.
So all into everyone's banking CMC back week 10.
That's the hope.
If you had to put odds, give me a percentage. Yeah, I know. Me and Brian are like, come on.
I'm gonna go. I'm optimistic, but I also want to err on the side of caution. I'm going to say 70% he comes back week 10.
Okay.
I got to give myself some room for error here.
So, Brian, what's your record in the SportsEthos League?
I am somehow 3-4.
Wow. Okay, so you wouldn't. I mean, what would it take to get CMC off your hands now?
A lot. I mean, my team is terrible in that. I'm very lucky. I think I'm lowest in points, but I'm 3-4. But I just have so many people coming back. Like, I'm starting to like my team actually again. But I wouldn't – I mean, especially given all the other injuries to the skill position players, The only person who, if he gets injured, I'd think about getting rid of him is Trent Williams. If something happens to that O-line, then I would maybe debate getting rid of him. But like CMC's been out this whole year and he's still like third on like touchdowns of any skill position player in the past 24 games.
Wow, that's an early stat. Okay.
Yeah,
So another team that got decimated by injuries, Tampa. I mean, it's just unbelievable, right? Why was Mike Evans playing, and why did they play him after that touchdown? And why was Chris Godwin in the game with 40 seconds left of a 10-point game?
I mean, it's just maybe they think they have a chance. It's 10-point game. We say that now that they're injured, like otherwise everyone wants their players to stay in to get fantasy points. So it's kind of, you can't really knock them for it, in my opinion. Like,
okay.
I was annoyed when the Eagles benched Saquon and Hurts in the fourth quarter, but it's like, it's a smart thing to do, but yeah, for fantasy it sucks. But now another team didn't do it and people are mad again. So
well, that's fantasy football. It's revisionist history, right? It's process is irrelevant. It's all about results.
Yeah, you're just always mad.
To Saquon's credit, he voluntarily sat out, which was very selfless, by the way. I might also add that video.
And he had a monster. So, like, what you wanted? How many points did he have?
What more could you want?
How many points did Saquon have? 30, 35?
Yeah, he went off.
I thought it was high 20s, but maybe it was 30, 35. It was a lot.
Yeah.
I think it was like 160, 170 and a touchdown.
Oh, it was only the one TD, a couple catches. Okay. So Tampa, right, you just lose. What is it? That's the 50% target share between those two?
It's got to be more.
Yeah, I mean, in that game, it seemed like Rachaad White was he ended up being the beneficiary of a lot of it. And I'd be curious to see if that continues. Obviously, the running back room's kind of been crowded. Sean Tucker looked good when Rachaad White was out. Rachaad White came back, and then it was kind of a three-headed monster, but Rachaad White still got passing work. Bucky Irving, he's just around 10 points every week. I have him in SportsEthos, and I start him, and I expect between 8 and 10 points, and that's what I get. You can't really complain about it. He's a low-end flex play, but it's solid. I would say the receivers, I mean, it seems like it's Jalen McMillan, Sterling Shepard, and Trey Palmer are like the three. I think Jalen McMillan's probably your best bet. I don't know if I'm starting any of them comfortably this week. Kate Otten, I would probably give a little boost to this week just because he's been trusted pass catcher there. Rachaad White, I'd also give a little bit of a boost to, but this week, if you can, I'd almost just sit back. If any of them are still available, I'd pop them on a roster, just bench them and see what happens. But if I'm forced to start one of the receivers, it'd definitely be McMillan.
Well, so let's say your number one waiver priority. Would you be using it on Jalen McMillan, 3-wide receiver league?
I did in one of my leagues just because I'm trying. Maybe it was the SportsEthos league, but I spent up to like 44 on him just because I need people in that league in the league I got him in. I need people that I know are at least going to get something. And with Evans is going to be out probably 3 to 4 weeks is the guess. Godwin's out for the year. So, or I think he is, but so like,
yeah, yes, I think so.
Yeah.
He's a young receiver on a team that's passing a bunch. Like that's just attractive to me. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. He's not like the highest of pedigree, but that's the type of player who can win you a league. I'm not saying he will, but if there's a 5 to 10% chance he does, like I want that. So,
and then what about Baker? Right, Baker's been a great. Well, I don't even know where he is for fantasy. He's got to be top 7, right? He's slinging touchdowns. He's running the ball. I mean, who are you starting over Baker? Like if you had Matt Stafford tonight, who are you starting? Stafford or Baker?
I mean, not to bury the lead, but if Puka and Kupp are both back, I might be starting Stafford over Baker.
Okay.
Just because one loses their top 2, the other gains. So I'd probably go with the one who gains.
Are you starting Brock Purdy, Baker Mayfield, or Matt Stafford this weekend?
Let's just see.
That's for Jason.
You know what? I'm going with Brock. And the reason being, I mean, you can laugh all you want, but the reason being is, the Cowboys defense has struggled. They're still missing key playmakers on that side of the ball. Doesn't sound like Micah Parsons going to be back just yet. DeMarcus Lawrence out. That takes away the rush to begin with, and they've already struggled stopping the run. So that if they're going to key in on stopping Jordan Mason, pass is going to be available for them. And if Debo's back, Jawan Jennings is back, Kittle is hopefully going to be available. There's still guys who can catch the ball. So I still feel like it's safe to start Brock here.
Is there a 2% chance CMC plays? Is it 0?
0. They didn't activate his practice window.
Okay, 0. Okay.
Yeah, I have Purdy as a clear start in all of them as well. Funny enough, I have Tua way higher than all of them. If he plays, I'm assuming he's playing. But
I think they said he's probably playing. Yeah.
Yeah, Purdy. Yeah, he might have. Purdy's got some injuries, but still, like when you're so deep at receiver and skill position, they can afford injuries, and he's still got a above average skill position group. And I'm pretty sure he's favored.
Pearsall did all right last week, getting integrated the offense for the first time. And don't sleep on Jacob Cowing either. I mean,
no, we are going to sleep on him.
Yeah, well, hey, hate all you want, but I watched this dude for 4 years in college. And I watched him terrorize my team for last year when U of A absolutely hammered us in Tempe, and he was a big reason for that. And that was with playing alongside, one of those premier talents. That's going to be coming out next year. A guy I'm sure we'll be talking about, for years to come. But he can play a little bit and he can find his way open, and he's a good just possession receiver who can, make some plays.
Okay, and then we're just going to switch to QBs, right? So I can't remember a situation where the quarterback coming back is just so important for the offense when the QB's not that good, right? Like Tua makes Tyreek top 3 wide receiver, Waddle top 20, right? He's going to help it change and help Mostert. There's going to be red zone opportunities. But what rest of the season, Brian? Tua, is he just house of glass, or
I mean, he's obviously. If I'm going to take a bet, I think he's going to be in the similar spot that he was previously, where he's kind of a streamer between 8 to 15 each week. I'm not you have that, plus you have a bunch of risk, or if he falls again, if he hits his head again, he's out. It. What I would do is, especially if you have Hill or Waddle and they go off this week, I'm selling high.
That's smart.
I want out of that as quick as possible, just because you've seen what happens when another QB comes in and it's terrible.
And then we also got Aiden McConnell's out, so Gardner Minshew's back, I guess. But that's gross, right? Jason, Jacoby Myers. Let's say Jacoby's playing. Jawan Jennings, Jacoby Myers this week.
I'm going Jawan.
I would go
the Raiders'
Jawan.
quarterback situation is an absolute just nightmare.
Okay.
Okay. I'm going to go back to Tua here for a minute, though, because the Dolphins actually have a fairly favorable schedule if Tua can stay on the field. The Cardinals, that's the Bills' defense, I know, shellacked them the last time they played. Bills' defense has been
every time
not that great this year. Then they get the Rams, which is a very favorable defense. Yeah. The Raiders at home, another very favorable defense. The Patriots, another favorable defense.
Wow, yeah. I remember preseason they had the worst rank for pass catchers. They were 32, but now
then you get to early December and it changes.
Yeah, I know exactly. I like all those games look good. What about Jason? What about Brian? Jalen McMillan or Jacoby Myers?
I would go McMillan, I think.
I'm going McMillan too. I trust Baker more.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's true. Okay. That's cool. Okay, and then we also had Deshaun Watson towards Achilles, and then Dorian Thompson. Is it Robinson? DTR?
Yeah.
He got hurt, so we finally got Jameis. Jameis came in garbage time and threw a TD, and then gave an impassioned speech supporting Watson, which really looked terrible. He doesn't get it, but maybe part of it is him not getting it. But so what are we doing? Jameis. Where do we got Jameis this week? Brian? Is he super flex QB2?
I have him at QB 29.
29. Okay.
I mean, a lot of this data is kind of Deshaun Watson data, so it does skew it a little. Like it's hard to find Jameis Winston data of the past 2 years. So I would upgrade some of my receivers a little. I mean, a big thing that my model's driven by is like your projected points total per Vegas. So I took these lines on Wednesday midday. So the total did go up with Jameis starting. So that was something that's obviously good to see. It's just, I mean, that I need to see it before I can kind of trust it. I think he's better just for fun of watching the game and for some of your receivers because he's going to throw 3 picks, but that just means they get the ball back. So he could throw 300 yards, 2 touchdowns, 3 picks. I'm not saying it's a great start, but it's fun and your receivers are getting into the game more.
Okay. Okay, guys. Yeah. So anyone watching, join it. If you're watching on Twitter or whatever, join us on YouTube so you can ask some questions. We're gonna get to questions in 2 seconds once we finish with the injury roundup. Also, if we don't get to anything, check us out on our Discord, where I'm always answering questions all day there. So Jason, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, Cleveland wide receivers, right? Rank them for me. Rest of the season, right? We got Elijah Moore. We got Jerry Jeudy, who's the one, but not a one. And then who's that new guy? Was it Cedric Tillman?
Yes, I want to say.
Who blew up? He had like 93 yards. He led the team in yards, targets, catches. But fluke or no fluke? First of all.
I mean, at that point, it was close enough game-ish. I mean, the Browns were still in cover territory, but it could be. I feel like there actually could be some legs to it, just because when teams practice throughout the course of a week, the twos work with the twos normally. They don't work with the ones. James probably has some developed chemistry with Tillman. So I feel like there could be some legs there, but he also has to, work to get rapport with Jeudy and with Elijah Moore. But, there could be some legs for Tillman. However, I still go at this point, Jeudy, Tillman, Moore.
Okay, Jeudy, Tillman, Moore. Okay, I like that.
You don't just trade for a guy like Jeudy and pay him for him to not exist.
Sure, but Jameis isn't logical. And also Baltimore pass funnel, right? Chubb's. I'm not like. Are you starting Chubb this week, Brian?
I wouldn't trust any of them this week. Ravens defense is starting to look like itself again.
But I think Humphrey's going to be out, right? They're a pass funnel. I mean, you can throw in them, especially negative game script. I mean, Jameis could go for 300 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 4 picks.
You're Jameis, baby.
That's the fun of Jameis.
Okay, let's. Anyone got anything else quickly before we hit to some questions?
Bryce Young starting again. Not to say it changes anything other than maybe a slight downgrade to the already terrible Carolina receiving options. But.
Yeah, Andy Dalton and his family got in a car crash, but it wasn't that serious. But it's not enough. He's not going to start, so we don't really have that much.
Deontay Johnson this weekend.
Yeah, I'm not starting him. But.
Yeah, that's cooked.
So, what about Chuba?
I mean, Bryce can't see over the line, so he can see his running back.
Okay. Because Denver good D. So Carolina is now Chuba and Deontay were kind of nice, great little stash starts, but now everyone's total write-off, whole team.
I mean, you're still starting Chuba. Like he has pretty good volume. He's like his rush share is like 50-something%, might even be in the 60s, and he has like a over 10% target share. Like he has 62% of the rushing share, and he has a target share of almost 11%. Like those numbers are really good, especially like they're on par with what you'd see from like a Breece Hall, a Bijan. Like all of your top tier running backs have similar shares. It's just Chuba's on Carolina. So he's still worthy of a RB2 start. It would be on volume, not on potential touchdown.
Quantity, not quality. Okay. Let's jump to a couple questions here. We got Untamed Music. Cool. Whatever. Start one of each, half PPR. All right. Jason, we'll start with you first. Tank Dell or Marvin Harrison?
Oof. I both are due for a bounce back week this week. but I feel like I really trust Tank Dell more just against that Colts secondary that's just really struggled. And I don't know, I feel like this is Caleb Williams' time to shine. Darnold's a pretty nice bet for tonight, though. The Rams defense has really struggled.
It's Tank Dell or Marvin Harrison.
I said Tank Dell.
Oh, so you just moved on. Okay.
Yeah, sorry. I just moved on to the other.
I thought you were going to explore Marvin Harrison.
I just trust Tank Dell more against I just trust Tank Dell more against that Colts secondary that's just not good. In terms of Williams and Darnold, I really like the Williams matchup this weekend. It's so tantalizing. That Rams defense just hasn't been good this year. They're near the bottom of the league in a lot of different categories. Aaron Donald doesn't exist there anymore. TJ Hawkinson's back tonight. Jones is back tonight. I feel like Darnold's a good player.
Is Hawkinson back?
He was questionable this morning. Is he locked in?
Not locked in yet, but he's supposed to be.
Okay, supposed to be.
I saw opposite, so I might have to check that.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess it's Hawkinson dependent. If Hawkinson's there, I feel like you've got to start Darnold. If he's not there, start Caleb.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, because you can even make the argument Commanders without Jaden, right? Mariota's, they're going to control the clock, probably maybe not put up points. So Chicago goes up big.
Same thing against the Jaguars a couple weeks ago, and Caleb lit up all of London.
Yeah. You can't. Brian, what do you bet you? You're going to make the case for Marvin Harrison, who you faded at the beginning of the season, and I called you a fool? How's that going?
It's going great considering I faded him for Malik Neighbors. It's looking pretty good.
It is going pretty good.
I think Harrison's like the third best rookie wide receiver.
Is he even third?
Brian Thomas has been better.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I like Tank Dell by a good amount in this one. I just think matchup's better. Harrison's been inconsistent. He gets you 3 touchdowns or he does nothing. That's just kind of been how he's been playing. And then I'm a Sam Darnold with or without Hawkinson. I just think it's a better matchup. He's proven it a bit more. Not saying Caleb Williams is a bad start this week. I'm kind of bummed we don't have the rookie matchup, or assuming we don't have that rookie matchup. But
game of the decade, yeah.
Yeah, I think Sam is safer. If you want a higher upside, then maybe go Caleb. But I think if you're going just floor, medium score, I would go Sam Darnold and Tank Dell.
How many rush yards did Sam Darnold have last week?
I don't have that off the top of my head.
I think it was like 39.
Was it? Good for you. You got it one week.
So yeah, this is tough, right? Because Caleb's been on fire, but I just love we got game strips, right? Where well, actually not really game strip. It'd be for Stafford. Vikings are 3-point favorites on the road.
I love that.
Actually, actually I like Stafford. Yeah, I'm Caleb actually. You know what? The Rams D is actually not that bad. They're kind of sneaky competent. Brian, do you have some good? You got some stats for us to you had on the was it last week that you said wasn't actually good? The Chargers.
I mean, Rams. I just don't they don't have much defensive talent. I don't have much data on them.
I called them a better team in reality than on paper.
They have a better offense, and I think when they're all there, it looks better. I'm just looking at their defense. I mean, their defense has given up way more rush touchdowns and passing touchdowns. Or not way. It's just a third passing touchdowns to 2/3 rushing. And let's see there. I think they're giving up a good amount of yards per point, which is something that this model is kind of driven off of. That can be seen good or bad. That's more, I think their defense or their offense doesn't turn it over as much. There's not as many short fields. So people still move it on the defense. They just move it longer to get a point. But their defense doesn't have that much talent. Minnesota's proven with their coaching that I just think they know what they're doing.
Okay.
I like, even though it's kind of proven not to happen, I do like the idea that this is the Sam or the Matt Stafford game where whoever wins tries to trade for him or trades for him or keeps him.
Sure. Yeah. I'd like to know a little more info. Do you have a Jefferson or do you have anyone on Caleb? Because I love a stack. Or what if you're Jason? What if is this question: if you're playing against Jefferson, does that make you more likely to start Darnold to try and neutralize him?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the Rams are 18th in the league in pass yards allowed right now, and again, it's like Brian just said, they lack elite talent at pretty much every level of the defense. There's going to be a mismatch for Justin Jefferson or Jordan Addison or TJ Hawkinson to be plays at some point. And if any capable quarterback should be able to exploit it, I mean, Darnold's exploited mismatches against better teams.
Yep, he was my best bet last week. He had 81 yards with 10 minutes left in the third quarter. Didn't have another catch. I almost broke something. Okay, let's move on. We got Jonathan Santiago. Rate this trade. Okay, Adams. So Devontae, I assume. Trey McBride. So Adams, Trey McBride, and Najee for T. Higgins, George Kittle, Rashad White. Anyone? My brain can't handle these 3 for 3s.
I can process here. Whoever is getting Devontae, Trey, and Najee Harris is winning this deal.
I kind of like the Kittle Higgins White side.
Kittle's been crazy, yeah. And Higgins,
especially with Ayuk out. I mean, you might know better than I do, but I feel like whenever one of the receivers is out, one of the running backs is out, Kittle is a mainstay in the offense and always performs well. Not always, but is way better of an asset. And now that you know for the year, Ayuk's not coming back, and you have Debo, Jennings, like I think he's going to be more of an asset in that offense. I kind of trust Joe Burrow more than I trust Aaron Rodgers. So I think the Adams Higgins, I like Adams as a just football player more, but I think they're pretty similar. I think Kittle's the better tight end in this situation. And then
also he said he's got Garrett Wilson, so he's trying to move off Adams.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah, that just makes it even more of a Higgins Kittle for me, just because
I can live with that now.
Yeah, I think you're going. I don't trust Rodgers to keep both of them up, and I'd rather just take a bet on one of them.
And Kyler's been pretty awful for the last since he beat the Niners. He hasn't really had a good game.
He turned in a decent enough performance on Thursday because of that rushing touchdown. His threat to run always makes him a fantasy asset.
Sorry, not Thursday.
No, I'm saying on Monday. My bad.
Oh, right, Monday. Yeah,
44-yard rushing touchdown and turned in from a whatever fantasy night or a tough fantasy night into a very salvageable one. So the threat of his legs alone just makes him fantasy viable every week.
That's true.
Yeah, I like Kyler more as a fantasy asset than I do for his wide receivers. Like almost similar to Lamar, where it's like none of his receivers really do too much because he just spreads the ball out and then runs. And I think Kyler is just a discount Lamar.
Okay, I mean Lamar just had 5 passing touchdowns, but
so he went off on Monday.
Well, yeah, but he spreads it across to everybody.
Yeah. There's no like the guy.
Tight end 3, Charlie Kohler is like a piece in that offense.
Yeah.
What, Jason? Just quick aside, Zay Flowers. Did we ever get an update? Because he rolled his ankle.
No update. It sounds like he's questionable for Sunday, but he stayed in the game Monday night, and there hasn't
didn't do anything.
Yeah, I mean, he was more of a decoy than anything, so it's definitely something to watch. But at this point, I would expect him to play against the Browns. But how much they'll need him, I don't know. I feel like Rashad Bateman should have a boost in value this week.
Yeah, Bateman's. Yeah, I always liked Bateman. Wasn't on this year. All right, John, he's got one more question. This is like the White House press conferences when it's like or that wasn't even a question. All right. Also, bench one between Jordan Mason, Ken Walker, Devin Chain, Kareem Hunt, full PPR. That's a good team.
Yeah,
Jesus. I mean, I don't know. Bench one? Am I benching Jordan Mason against the Cowboys?
I think I have it as a bench Hunt.
I mean, Hunt's been getting touches.
Yeah. This is a tough call. I'd say the automatic start here is Kenneth Walker.
Yeah,
Kenneth Walker to me is the automatic start.
That's how I like to do it. Yeah. I think you got to start a chain too with Tua back, right? He's just it's back to explosiveness. Mm-hmm. So Hunt Mason, I mean, just Cowboys rush D's terrible.
So bad. And, because Mason, out of the 4 guys here, Mason is probably the least capable pass catcher of the 4, but he'll make up in other ways against that Cowboys defense. So yeah, I'm probably going Hunt here.
Okay.
I don't know why I can't see Hunt, but he was at like 12-8, 12-8-4. I had Mason was the lowest of the other ones at 13-4. So that's why I had bench. A-Chain, I just think that point total has like gone up significantly since the Tua news. So I just think they're projected to kind of pick up where they left off, and Tua fed him in the receiving game.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? It's just he will eat, right? I think Mostert will probably be left out, and Waddle kind of gets left out. But so is Mason banged up, or was it he got hurt in the Thursday nighter, and then who did they play last week?
They put so he sprained his shoulder in week 8 against the in week 7 against the Seahawks. He came back, he played, and he ran well, but he just struggled at the goal line. Just like the Niners in the red zone this year, they just lack of efficiency is just mind-boggling how they just can't finish drives. But it's very cognitive, or it's very it's like kind of like a microcosm of a lot of their playoff failures. They just don't finish. And he had his red zone touches, including touches inside the 5 on Sunday. He just couldn't get in. Brock vultured him twice.
Oh, right, yeah. I kept seeing people with those Brock 2 TD bets on Twitter.
2 rushing touchdowns for Brock. So, yeah, that was tough. But I expect him to bounce back this week. Another week, with that, removed from the injury. And, again, that Cowboys rush defense has really struggled. Teams have really gashed them. And especially if Parsons and DeMarcus Lawrence don't play, that's just going to make the task that much tougher.
Yep. Okay.
This is definitely this is a must win for the Niners too. It's a game they got to have. That's a game the Cowboys got to have as well.
But if you're a Christian McCaffrey GM, you probably want them to lose because then he has to play after the bye, right?
The Niners are going to play him regardless. He has to play no matter what. At the end of the day, the Niners have been inefficient in the red zone now for 7 weeks. The proof is in the pudding that they're a different team when McCaffrey's out there. And their room for efficiency the second he comes back will go.
I cannot wait. I just can't wait. There's been nothing worse since I remember the tweet week 1. It's like he's geared up, ready to go. And then it was the Monday nighter or Sunday nighter?
When it was Monday nighter. Monday nighter against the Jets.
Yeah, Monday nighter. It's like, oh, he's not playing, and it's like he might never play again.
I'm just gonna say I have a new rule when I pick first overall that I'm not taking the first ranked overall player. I remember reading something a couple of years ago, and this has kind of stuck with me since. And it was 2022 when I was doing my fantasy leagues and starting to do kind of some draft prep and whatnot, very lightly. If you have the guy if you have the number 1 pick, don't always just automatically take the guy who was the number 1 guy because it's very hard to repeat that from the prior year, and they listed off a bunch of reasons. So I was like, and the number 1 pick, the number 1 overall player that year was Jonathan Taylor. And I was like, all right, you know what? If I end up with the number 1 pick in the league, I'm not going to take Jonathan Taylor. I ended up with the number 1 pick in one of my leagues. I took Derrick Henry, who ended up laughing last. Me.
Okay.
Taylor had a huge week 1. Henry had a mediocre week 1. When the season leveled out, Taylor ended up getting banged up. Henry was the one who lasted all the way through the year, and he had the better season.
He usually does.
Yeah.
I just think it's the Madden curse.
Yeah, the Madden and the 1.0, the ESPN now has killed the ace levels of the 1.01 curse are very real things. The last 5 years, or ever since 2020, the consensus or the majority number 1 overall pick in ESPN fantasy drafts has either had a down year and or gotten hurt. And that's 3 of those 5 years is McCaffrey. 2020, 2021, and this year, 22 it was Taylor. Last year was JJ. So that's a very interesting trend. That's a pattern now.
Yeah, well, isn't it? There's the curse of the 381 or something, right? 300. Anyone after 381 carries, they always fall apart the next year. So would make sense. Running backs get the heavy workload, put up the numbers, and then next year.
Henry's the one guy who survived it.
Well, he's a true freak show. Okay, let's move on here. We got Chris Brundage. So Jamar Chase for Amon St. Brown PPR.
I got Chase wide receiver 1 this week.
This is a trade.
Yeah.
I keep Chase.
Yeah,
okay, well,
Chase. That's just trying too hard at this point. Like Amon-Ra's great, but so is Chase.
But this is maybe just a personal thing. I almost never make these 1-for-1 elite guy for elite guy because you're either going to hate yourself if one of them gets hurt or doesn't perform. Like, I just feel like the likelihood that you hate yourself for it is way higher than it's just like either a win or you break even. I just don't see the point in these.
I like them because it's like you get 2 players. Then you get to cheer against Chase and root for St. Brown. But I think it's pretty clear where it's you want ceiling Chase, right? You want floor St. Brown. The argument for St. Brown would be Jameson Williams suspended 2 games, so maybe now that he goes back to getting target heavy, like getting 12 targets, 8 catches, but he's been playing really well. I would first look at where you are in the standings, right? What do you need? And then I would look at playoff schedule. And that's how I would make my determination.
Yeah.
Or just keep Chase. Keep Chase and just trade for Burrow and just.
Yeah, stack. Burrow's having a great
year. Oh, 1 second. Okay. So yeah, that's pretty simple. Okay, we got another one. David Moe. Can everyone hear me? I turned down my mic. Evening, guys. Okay, evening, David. Big news on Puka. Yeah. How much impact will Kupp rest of season? Okay. You're the big Cooper guy guy, Brian.
I think this is kind of beneficial to both of them. I do like you can't guard both. I think Kupp was looking better when they were both healthy at the beginning of the year. That was like not that much time, but I do think Kupp has been the one. Whenever he's active, he puts up 20-something PPR points. Like that's just kind of what he's averaged when he's active over the past 2 seasons. Obviously, he's been hurt for a lot, but I like Kupp. The only thing I'm worried about is, do they start trading? Like, do they start realizing? This week is going to be big. If they win, they're 3-4 and they're in it. If they lose, then I think they're just going to start selling. I don't think they're going to sell Puka. So I think if they lose, I'm higher on Puka. If they win, I'm higher on Kupp. I think that's kind of my dumb way of looking at it, but that's what I think.
What do you got combined target share? Over 50?
I would say about 50, 25, and then honestly, yeah, probably over 50, like to around 55 is what they're going to average on the year.
Okay. Jason, so let's say if you have Kupp for fantasy, do you want Puka healthy or not?
Yeah. It just takes away attention from him. So at the end of the day, Kupp is one of those guys he's always going to find a way to get open. He's always going to find a way to get the ball. He can run any route in the tree. He's not like a 1 or 2 route guy. He's like any route type of receiver. They'll get him the ball in some way, shape, or form. They'll get him the ball at any depth of the field as well, whether it be behind the line, short, intermediate, deep. The ball is always gonna find him. So it just doesn't faze me. I've said this, from the beginning since we've been doing this show, that Kupp has always been Stafford's guy, and he will continue to be Stafford's guy as long as he's there. So he's going to always, to me, be the wide receiver 1 there. And then Puka's still going to be a very solid wide receiver 2. So it's not a knock against Puka. It's just him and Kupp have such great rapport that it's just hard to break something like that up.
Okay, yeah, for sure. And it's also more likely Kupp stays healthy, right? We don't need him getting 24 targets a game like in week 1 when Puka went out, week 1, right?
Yeah.
What about trade targets? Where is the Niners rumored for Kupp replace Ayuk?
I have not seen anything with Kupp going to the Niners. I know the Chiefs talked to the Rams about Kupp, which would have been incredible for fantasy. Mahomes' value all of a sudden goes from he's right now a mid-tier QB too. He hasn't had that a good season.
No.
I mean, just name brand is the only thing keeping his fantasy value alive is his name at the moment. But you add in Cooper Kupp, oh man, that would have shot that right back up to QB. But they still landed DeAndre Hopkins, which does help that value. In terms of what the Niners do need, though, receivers definitely not a priority. They do not need anything fantasy relevant at this point, other than help.
Okay, Brian, you gonna say something?
Yeah, I think if Kupp gets traded, I don't think it's gonna be to like one of the big teams. I think it's gonna be he gets traded to an up and coming team with a QB, like a younger QB, be it like the Commanders or a team like that where it's more of a, hey, my team looks good. I have a young QB. Like, let's see if he can work with Kupp, and then you kind of like help grow. I think that's more the type of offer you'll see, because I don't think they're going to give him like, I think they want a second round pick. And I just think like, I don't know how many picks. I don't even know if the Chiefs have a second to give up at the moment. I just think if he gets traded, it's going to be to a team where it's more of like a developmental quarterback, or like a Steelers situation where like they just need more trustworthy people and they're not the best offense, but it's more to improve it.
Okay, so if you have Kupp for fantasy, which you do you want him to get traded or not?
No, I want him to win this week, and I just want him to keep competing.
Okay. Are there situations in which a trade, like, give me a couple of teams where you think his fantasy value goes up if he gets traded?
I don't think it goes up if he gets traded. I think him and Stafford have something, like Jason was saying.
Yeah, his value is going to be is what it's going to be. The only place it can go is down if he gets traded to like a crummier team. But if he got traded to a place, a team that like needs a receiver, with a halfway decent quarterback, his value is still wide receiver 1.
Okay. And then, so Brian, if Puka's out, do you have Kupp wide receiver 1 rest of the season?
Not with the risk of them being traded.
Let's say not traded. Let's just say he's on the Rams. Rams all season, but like projected each week, but totals, right? He's probably got like a 40% injury risk.
Whenever he plays, he's a top 5 receiver for me. That's kind of how I view it. I mean, I would view him as that in a trade offer. I've traded for him in multiple leagues just because I view him so highly.
This season?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Oh, so you will be watching this game.
Yeah. This game is, I mean, especially compared to last week's nightmare, this game is popcorn. This is box office for me. Cooper Kupp, Justin Jefferson, and then Nakua and Jordan Addison, Kyron Williams, Aaron Jones. And then Stafford going against that Brian Flores defense. This is absolutely a must watch.
I agree. Let's just hit this last question. We'll jump into a little preview here. All right, Jonathan again. I have one more start. Cedric Tillman, Jalen McMillan, Wan'Dale Robinson, or Ladd McConkey. Gross. I know. Not that gross. I think we cut Wan'Dale out. I guess it was PPR, which I think it is, but I think we're going Ladd, right? Ladd.
Yeah, Ladd.
I have Ladd the highest, yeah.
Yeah,
Wan'Dale.
Pass game this week too, which was really good to see. And this is a very favorable matchup for the Chargers coming up on Sunday.
Yeah, I would go just Wan'Dale. Like, he's ugly, but man, he gets targeted.
Yeah, but he's getting like 6 grabs for 24 yards.
Is it PPR?
Yeah, it is PPR, I think.
That's 8.4 points. Like,
I know.
It's a great floor play. Like, if your team's projected to win, I mean, I think either way you go Ladd, but like Wan'Dale in general, if your team's projected to win and you just need like a low end flex, he's perfect.
Okay. And then Tillman, McMillan, good stashes. You know what you're doing. Like, those guys might blow up, but you want to keep them on your bench this week. They blow up this week, start them next week, right?
Yeah.
All right. Simple. But yeah, you seem like you know what you're doing. All right, let's jump into this game because we've gone 44 minutes. We barely talked about it. Right? We got Vikings favored by 3 on the road. We got 3 of the best wide receivers in the game. Jason, my favorite game. You get 3 fantasy players. Who are you starting?
We're going JJ and we're going Kyron Williams.
Oh, Kyron. Wow. You're going to start Kyron. But top 2 run defense, right? They've given up 3 touchdowns, like 3 yards per carry.
He's just been so good this year. I mean, trust me, I'm going against him in my big money league, so I hope I'm wrong on that one. I hope I ended up getting faded on that one and getting trashed for it, but he's been really good this year. He always
he's been great.
Finds the end zone, you can't not start him. So yeah,
can't not start. Well, we'll get back to that in a second. Brian, same question.
Top 3. I mean, unfortunately for my cup stock, I have Kyron, Aaron Jones, Jefferson.
Wow. I mean, you got to follow the model, but Jesus, I'm the only one starting Puka?
I don't have Puka on any team, but I mean, you said top 3, so I
know.
It's not Puka hate. It's just Justin Jefferson is the best receiver in football in his quarterback group. Cooper Kupp has been. I'm just. You might as well turn this into a drinking game at this point. How much time did I say Kupp is Stafford's guy? And again, I still like the running backs on both sides who have been healthier than Nakua, because we honestly don't. If Nakua does play, we don't know how much he's going to play yet either. This is a very short week. It's a real catch-22.
But short week doesn't matter if he hasn't been playing.
Yeah, that's in general. I just don't. When I can, and like I can't with Kupp in a lot of situations, I try not to start someone coming off an injury. I mean, obviously, if it's a stud, it's a stud. But like, say you're in between 2 flexes. If one's coming off an injury, I don't know. Say you're between Ladd and Wandale. If Ladd was coming off an injury, I would probably go Wandale. Like, it's just, you never know what's going to happen. Re-injury risk makes it higher. It's just difficult.
That's
like
true.
I didn't start Chubb in a lot of my leagues last week just because
running backs are different though. Right? Yeah. And a year-long injury, right?
Yeah.
It's different being out for a year than a few weeks. But okay, let's play. So Jason, Kyron Williams or Javonte Williams?
Kyron Williams.
Brian?
Now that I've fixed it, I do have Kyron, but I have Javonte very high this week.
Okay.
Yeah, he's got a really nice matchup. You can't dispute it. But big Javonte Williams games have been once in a blue moon the last year and a half. It's too hard to gauge at this point.
No, for sure.
Defense, like he really should have a big game on Sunday, but again, like he's very hard to trust.
So, all right, I'm going to name like 10 running backs, and you're going to tell me what they have in common. Javonte Williams, Jahmyr Gibbs, Aaron Jones, Saquon Barkley, DeAndre Swift, Alvin Kamara, Bijan, Pollard, and Breece Hall.
They've all terrorized the Panthers this year?
No, they can't have all played the Panthers. That was obviously what he was going for, but they're all pass catchers.
They all have 40%, above a 40% share of rushing and above a 12% share of receiving.
Okay.
And all of them are studs, and then like Javonte Williams kind of sticks out.
He's like when you show the NBA thing, and it's like MJ, LeBron, Magic Johnson, Thad Young.
One of these things are not together.
Yeah, I also think another thing that sticks out is, all right, his best week was last week. They just had their right tackle come back. Their right tackle looked amazing. The rest of their offensive line looked way better. So I do think things are going up. And like that Sean Payton loves his running backs. In the past, you've had Kamara and Ingram doing well. You've had like Kamara and who was the other guy? Latavius Murray. Like you've had running backs that you wanted to start on Sean Payton offenses. And I just think
Mark Ingram.
Yeah, his underlying numbers just look good.
And Reggie Bush.
Reggie.
Okay, so let's prediction for the game. Jason? Give me over under? It's 46.5, and then you think the Vikings cover?
I do like the over. I do like the Vikings to cover 3 points. 3 points is a very small spread. In terms of other prop bets that I like that I found on a Bettor's Insider, doing a little digging today because
where are your boys? Where are the boys?
They've been non-existent today. Wake up, Reach Zen. Let's go. Come on. No. So I had to do my own research. Sam Darnold over 1.5 passing tutties, plus 120. Love that.
Okay,
The Vikings, the Rams again, 18th in the league in pass yards allowed. And they're ranked 25th in points allowed. So they're very vulnerable to getting scored on in the passing game. And then I also like Kyron Williams over 74.5 rushing yards.
Oh my God. I can't do it.
I hope I'm wrong because I'm going against him, but I feel like that's a good bet. So
I had him at 80 in the model.
Wow. Maybe I'm burned because I bet him. I thought Vegas, I had him last week and he had 21 rushes. He had like 70 yards, couldn't break one. He still scored, but so I'm burnt. And it's just, I think Vikings are missing their best tackler. I was hearing, is it a linebacker? I forget the guy's name.
Oh, yeah, Ivan Pace. Yeah.
So, right, that could factor in. But, with running backs, it's like Derrick Henry can be held in check, have like 40 yards and 20 carries, and on the 21st, it's a 60-yarder. You guys both looking at your phones?
I'm looking at the odds. Kyron Williams is only plus 290 to score twice.
Okay, I like that better because he just went fall in for a yard. Well, we got some questions. We got some questions, bro. We love questions, guys. We're gonna wrap up shortly, but anyone on Twitter, join us on YouTube. Give us a like, and you can throw us questions. If we don't get to it, hit us on Discord. Let's just jump in. All right, we got Peracchio, something like that. It's a hockey fan. Maybe he's Canadian. All right, trade Mahomes plus Brees. Oh, this is too complicated for me. So Mahomes plus Brees or Kyron for Jaden Pollard Neighbors. Redraft Superflex. His wide receiver 1 is Jefferson, and he's got A-Rich, Jameis. He's 2-5. 2-5, so he's desperate. So you can't trade for Jaden Daniels, right? You're not going to get him this game.
Yeah,
right?
I can't afford that this week. And Mahomes
unless you want Jameis and A-Rich this week.
Which you do not want.
I love you, Jameis, but not as a fantasy quarterback.
I love you, James. Let's do a quick aside here. So, right, Mahomes, right? We got that big trade. We didn't talk about it. They got DeAndre Hopkins. Jason, is he washed, or is this going to be his Larry Fitzgerald, second coming? When we got who's the Bengals quarterback you got?
He's not the guy he once was, but I'd say this puts him back in the wide receiver 2 category. I feel like a guy like Hopkins can get on the same page with Mahomes pretty fast. I don't think it's going to take long for those two to start clicking. He's a mid-range wide receiver 2, in my opinion. And it involves Mahomes back up to a higher end quarterback QB2 at this point as well. So, and they have a good matchup with the Raiders this week.
Rest of the season, Brian. Who would you want for your fantasy? Devontae Adams, DeAndre Hopkins, Amari Cooper.
I'm probably not like others, but I'd go Cooper, Adams, Hopkins.
Wow.
I agree with you.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I think Hopkins is like, I don't know. He feels older than the rest. I could be wrong that he isn't. But I feel like best case for him is like this is a throwback, but like a Larry Fitzgerald where
that's what I said.
Sorry, then I just completely missed that. But yeah, it's like he finally gets like a Kurt Warner or a Carson Palmer.
Yeah, Palmer. That's what I can remember. Yeah. I just say it's right. It's usage and opportunity, right? So Hopkins probably has the most because I think Juju's out, so it's just him and Kelsey, right? Devontae's going to be battling with Garrett Wilson, also Breece Hall, and Lazard looks good. But so Amari's got the best situation, right? He's the clear wide receiver 1, and best quarterback. Really, best quarterback, you got to say, right? Because Mahomes is winning games but not playing well.
The best fantasy quarterback, yes. Best overall quarterback. I mean, Mahomes.
Well, Mahomes is undefeated, so.
Yeah, exactly. But best fantasy quarterback right now is definitely Cooper's situation.
Okay. All right. So we said do not do this trade. You're 2-5. What if he was 4-3? Brian, would you then it's probably juicy?
It's juicy because of Jaden Daniels.
Yeah.
I just don't like giving up the Brees situation. Like Pollard's look good, but I just like that team could just fall apart, Tennessee. And then it's like if they start falling apart and they just keep losing, it's like, are they really just going to feed Pollard? Are they going to maybe try to get in some younger players. I don't know. So that situation just scares me. Yeah, Pollard's look pretty good for now. Obviously, love Neighbors, but I think it's just more the Jaden. You're doing it for Jaden Daniels, and I don't know if I want to give up Brees or Kyron for that.
Okay, that's fair. We're also neighbors. You get neighbors,
Yeah.
Jason, you all right? Gesundheit? A couple sneezes?
Yeah, I had to drop a couple sneezes in there.
That was pretty silent. That was a sneeze.
No, I put myself on mute, which was smart.
Oh, that was smart, yeah. Brian, did I see a tail in the background earlier?
Yeah, I got Lucy here.
Is that dog still never in the same room?
Nope.
Oh my God, I don't know how you do that. My dog's got in a killer fight last night.
This one needs 24/7
Our family
supervision too, because he got an infected foot.
Oh my God. Well, dogs, right? You got to do it.
Actually, I want you guys to weigh in. I sent you guys pictures.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about this, and I wanted to save this for the show.
Yeah,
I did have some thoughts on this.
Go ahead, Jason, while I catch up.
Yeah, so wanted to go back to Brian's roster help. Brian, I really like this lineup. The only change I would legitimately consider making at this point are two changes. Maybe throwing Devontae in there over Brian Thomas. The Packers secondary has actually been pretty good so far, and their defense has been tough. And Jags offense, except with the exception of 2 games, has just been garbage. And the other one, as great of a bad matchup as Bo Nix has, touchdowns just aren't there for me. I would kind of take the gamble with Tua.
Yeah, I was thinking.
Did I not get this?
Here, I think I can show it.
NFL Slack.
Oh, NFL Slack. Okay.
I can show it too, so everyone can see.
Sure.
Yeah, pull that up. But those are the 2 recommendations I have for it. But I love that you brought this up because I actually did have thoughts on this, and glad we were able to go.
It's a 12 team. I went rookie heavy in the draft, and then I picked up a few players later on. But that's who I currently have starting.
You're gonna do the Knicks, eh? I mean, he's been great. He's too tough, but I
just like his rushing.
Yeah, he had 74 yards, I think, last week. But I'd still go Tua, man. I mean, zone is almost as bad as Carolina. Maybe check that weather, but I'd go Tua. I guess you don't have any stacks.
So the big thing, I think Bijan and Ferguson are kind of the only 2 I'm pretty set on in the flex positions. I could be convinced to bench Kupp, Neighbors, Thomas, Cook.
Don't bench Kupp. I guess the Neighbors.
But I have Zay, Stevenson, Adams, Chubb.
Wow. But Flowers, Denzel Ward kind of banged up. I wouldn't do that. Adams, maybe Garrett gets Adams, maybe. Adams, Neighbors. Geez, that's a good team. 12 team league? Jesus Christ.
I'm 3-4. It's just because everyone's been hurt.
Dude, I mean, the thing with leagues, and it's so funny because you feel like you have a good roster, but so much of it is who you match up with and when you match up with them. In my big money league earlier this year, I was getting the first week was a good matchup, but then the next 2 weeks, I got the 2 lowest scoring teams in the league and was able to kind of get by. Ever since then, the last 4 weeks, I've gotten everybody's best punch. And I pulled one out last week, and this week I lost 128 to 122. And all because, at Brees Hall, that fumble challenge flag cost me. Actually, it's so much about timing.
My main league added something new this year, which I love. It's basically there's 2 matchups. It's if you win your matchup, and then if you get in the top 6 of scoring out of a 12-team league is another win. So then
I like that.
It kind of helps the teams it helps kind of even it out if your team just gets lucky or super unlucky, or at least kind of middle of the pack.
Yeah, when you're the second highest scoring team, but you face the highest scoring team.
Yeah, but this kind of goes back to what we mentioned maybe 2 weeks ago, where it's what's one thing you regret doing? It was drafting a bunch of injured players. I'm 3-4 in 3 of my leagues and 4-3 in another, and I went heavy on the injured players. So
Hollywood,
I am curious if it's going to pay off. I love the way my teams look now, even the SportsEthos league. I'm really starting to like the way it looks. That one I got the most lucky being 3-4, but is it going to pay off am I going to make the playoffs in each league, or is my slow start going to hurt me?
Yeah, I find you can always overcome the slow starts, right? You get into a nice groove, and then teams fall apart. GM stop caring. That week 10 to 14, I think 3-1 is easy to go. I'm in a league with Luke Wilson, it's TSN league, and he's terrible, super flex league. But I'm top 4 in points, but I'm got the most points scored against me, so I'm in 11th place, and everyone's calling me an idiot. I'm like, I'm not the idiot. So it's really frustrating.
That like scoring system that I mentioned, it just helps kind of bring it to the middle.
Yeah. How do you alter it too? Is it like on Sleeper or Yahoo? How does that work?
ESPN just had like it literally was a checkbox on ESPN. It was super easy to do, and I think a bunch of them have it. It's like you add alternative matchup, and it does it for you. If you're top 12 score, if you're top 6 scorer, you go 1-0 that week. If you win in our top 6, you're 2-0. Like
the only thing ESPN's good for. Okay, we got to wrap up though, guys. We got one last question, and then I got to take off. So, would you all send BTJ, Waddle, and Chubb for Tyreek and Cubb? Okay, I like this trade. Well, he's got Higgins, Waddle, Josh Downs, Palmer, so it's not that great. Running backs, Kyron, Mason. Okay. Oh, whoa. So your running backs are stacked. You kind of need wide receivers. So you're getting Tyreek and Chubb. I don't know. Are you getting the 2 best players? Yeah. I don't even think this trade would be allowed, right?
I mean, if they want it, the Tyreek Cup. I'm always on Cup. I love Brian Thomas Jr. I think he's a stud. But
it's a 3 wide receiver league, and you're getting the 2 best players in the trade. So yes, I would 100% do it. I'd be shocked if they allowed it. And I'd be the GM claiming collusion and veto and all sorts of crazy stuff.
Say less. Do it. Send it.
Okay. Yeah, we all agree. Okay, we got to wrap up though. Brian, you got a good prop bet for me?
Just Javonte scoring.
No, tonight, Thursday. We live in the moment.
If Kyron is only 74.5, I have him at 80, so I like that over.
I already bet it's under.
I have Stafford at negative 0.77 rushing yards. So if you want to get really inside, maybe the under on his rushing yards. I don't even know if you can do under on his rushing, but
probably like 2.5 or something. Yeah. And all right, Jason, your boys let you down, but you came through. You did some research on your own.
I had 1.5 passing touchdowns plus 120.
Damn, Darren, 1.5. I like that. I did our preview for the week. Mine was anytime touchdown, Justin Jefferson and Cooper Kupp plus 300 because we know those guys are going to fly. But that was before the Puka news. It's probably his odds got better, and I don't like it as much with Puka back. But we'll see with Hawk. But that's it for us. Thanks, guys. Thursday. Maybe we'll see Brian on Sunday again with even a fresher haircut and shave and even a newer room. Just keep upgrading. Jason, awesome. Thank you for always coming through the injuries. If you ever want to come on Sunday, you do your kickball thing. So your Sunday.
Yeah, no, I might be able to show up on a Sunday morning here or there. We don't play till 5 Eastern this week. So.
Okay, great. All right, we'll make it like those little booths. We'll have 9 guys all talking at the same time.
And ASU's got a bye, so I got nothing to hurt about Sunday morning because ASU ain't playing on Saturday.
Okay, well, we'll definitely have you Sunday week 10 CMC game. Let's book that in.
As long as he's locked into play. Then,
yeah.
Just remember, ASU plays the day before, a little different. But
okay.
Hey, if he's there, I'll show up.
Okay, all right. Thank you, people. Thank you for all the questions, guys. If we didn't hit you or you missed out, hit us up on Discord, check us out on Twitter, or find us Sunday morning. Okay, thank you. Cheers.
Cheers.